Hello and welcome to today's episode of IELTS Prep Me podcast. I'm your host, Vanessa Ellen. I hope you're all doing great. And today we've got another essay question that we're going to look at, and I'm going to share with you how I think about the question and how I generate my ideas. You may have better ideas than I do, so put them in the comments. I would love to hear them. Don't forget also to subscribe, to like, to share, to do all of those wonderful things, and your support is greatly appreciated. All right, let's get into the question for today. It is, young people who commit crimes should be treated the same as adults by the authorities. To what extent do you agree or disagree? So, what is the overall topic here? It's talking about the punishment. Basically, when the question says should be treated the same, to me that means the punishment. So what, are the police going to charge the person? What's going to happen to the person? That is the overall topic. What are we being asked to do? Well, we are being asked to agree or disagree with it. So what are we agreeing or disagreeing with? We have to agree or disagree that youngsters, so that young people, should be treated. They should get that same treatment, that same punishment as adults for the crimes that they commit. Also, don't forget that we have to show the extent of how much we agree or disagree, and we can use that simply by using words such as totally, fully, completely. Those adverbs are great to be using to show the extent, to show how much you agree or disagree. All right. Now, I don't know about you, but when I first looked at this question, I was like, ooh, I have to think about this because I don't actually know my position. I don't know whether I agree or disagree. So, before I even start thinking about my ideas, I need to think about the crimes. This is what I did in my head, okay? I thought about the crimes, and I tried to compare crimes that both adults and young people commit. If I think about stealing, yes, that's a crime that they both commit. So maybe they steal from the supermarket, they can steal money, they can steal a car. Sometimes that is with a weapon. So maybe they use a gun or a knife or a baseball bat or something else. So that is something that both youngsters and adults do. What about some other types of crime? What about assault? Assault is when we physically hurt another person. Either we hit them or we punch them or we could stab them. What about drugs? Taking drugs is illegal. Selling drugs is illegal. Making drugs is illegal. And yes, both youngsters and adults do it. What about disorderly conduct? So disorderly conduct is like, being very abusive in public. It can be vandalism, so they break things, break windows, break doors, just break things. It can be graffiti, so that they are drawing on the walls with paint or pen. Anything that is disturbing the peace is disorderly conduct. Also, we've got driving without a license. Yes, there are some youngsters who drive without a license, and there are also some adults that do the same thing. So I wanted to just think about all the different types of crimes so that I could decide then and think about my ideas about whether the punishment should be the same. Okay, so now that I've thought about the crimes, I'm now going to think about my ideas. And I'm going to think about both, if I agree with it or whether I disagree with it. So on my piece of paper, I'm going to write 2 columns, one with the agree and one with disagree. Now, let me have a think about why I would agree that youngsters should be treated the same as adults when they commit a crime. And the idea that I came up with is because it is a good deterrent. For example, if an adult gets caught stealing a car, maybe they will go to jail, to prison, for 5 years. Now, I think that is a good deterrent for youngsters to say, I don't want to go to prison. So it's a way of stopping them from doing it. Like I said, it's a good deterrent. So that harsh punishment that adults are given is a good deterrent. That would be my idea if I was going to agree. And then, I have to be honest, I couldn't think of anything else. I just could not think of any other reason why I would agree. So if you came up with some other ideas, please let me know, because I got stuck. Then I went on to the disagree side, and I had a lot more ideas there. I disagree that they should be treated the same as adults, because some youngsters, they commit the crime not because they want to, but it could be because of necessity. Now, I know adults are the same. Yes, they have to sometimes commit crime out of necessity, but I'm just going to use this as my idea that some children are homeless, some are poor. Their peer pressure, maybe they're with a group of classmates or friends that encourage them to steal. They don't want to, but in order to be accepted into the group, they do it because they want to be liked. So sometimes it can be out of necessity, or that they are sort of forced to do it. So that's one reason. Another reason is because maybe they learnt the behaviour from their parents. There are a lot of parents out there who are drug dealers. So if a child is raised in that environment, maybe they will just naturally do the same thing because they don't know any better. So it's not really their fault in a way. So should they be penalised the same as adults? No, because they didn't know any better. Maybe they're not mature enough to understand the ramifications. I love that word. Ramifications mean the negative consequences. So maybe they don't understand the consequences of them going to prison or being charged as an adult. That is one of the reasons why maybe they shouldn't get the same punishment, because they don't have the same mental ability to understand what is going to happen. Another one is maybe that if youngsters don't get the same punishment or are not treated in the same way, it's more of an opportunity for the youngster to be rehabilitated and also stay away from criminals. Because if let's say that they are sent to prison, they could be around worse criminals. I don't think that's going to be good for them. I've got 3 ideas there. Based on those ideas, I have now decided that I disagree. I do not think that young people should be treated the same as adults by authorities when they commit a crime. Now that I have my ideas, now that I know my position, I'm going to start writing. So what's the first thing I'm going to do? I'm going to write the introduction. And I'm going to have a broad topic sentence. I am then going to paraphrase the question. And I'm going to give my opinion. Yes, I'm going to put my opinion in the introduction. At a band 7 for task response, it clearly states that you must have a clear position throughout the essay. A clear position throughout. Throughout means from the start to the end. So I'm going to put my opinion in the introduction. I would not advise writing sentences that say something like, I will state my reasons and present my opinion. Tell me your opinion at the beginning. Tell me what it is. I don't want to wait until the end to find out. That is not throughout the essay. That's at the end of the essay. So don't write something like that. All right, so I've got my introduction. Then I'm going to start my body paragraphs. So my first body paragraph will be my first reason why I disagree. So out of the 3 ideas that I thought about, I think I'm going to use the first 2. One, that it's maybe out of necessity or they're forced. The other one, maybe it's because it's learnt behaviour. So my first body paragraph will be talking about how maybe they're homeless or they're poor, their family need them to go and steal because they don't have any money for food, or peer pressure. That's what I will be talking about. So I will give my reason about that it could be out of necessity. It's not choice, it's necessity. And I would explain that, develop it, and support it with ideas, with examples. Then in body 2, I'm going to give my second reason why I disagree, and I will talk about that it could be a learnt behaviour from parents who do commit crime, or other adults that do commit crime. So they think it's normal, so they don't know any better. Again, I'm going to explain it, develop it, and support it with an example. Now, I did think about why I could possibly agree with it. So, because I want to show that I have thought about the possible agreement to the question, and I want to include that just to show the examiner, oh yes, well she's thought about why it might be a good idea, I'm going to add a concession sentence. So concession is where you introduce something and then you're going to reject it. So in the second body paragraph, I will start with my topic sentence to say this, my second reason. Then I would add a concession sentence, something like, despite the fact that the same treatment can be a deterrent for youth committing illegal acts, it does not take into account family circumstances. And then I would continue on with my point about the family's behaviour, learnt behaviour because their parents are committing those crimes. I will continue then to develop it and support it. Then comes my conclusion. I'm going to restate those 2 ideas that I introduced, what I spoke about in the body paragraphs. I'm just going to summarise it again and once again restate my opinion. Okay? And that's it. That's all you need to do. I found this question a little bit tougher, I have to admit, but that's because I had to go through the process of thinking about the different crimes. Because without doing that, I couldn't organise the ideas in my head. So I did have to think about the different crimes that both adults and youngsters commit. So maybe that is something that you need to do as well. Let me know in the comments how you got on. Let me know what your ideas were. And until the next episode, keep practicing, keep writing, and don't commit crime.